Oh, the streets are cold and gray, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, I wanna be there in that number. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, from the north to Wembley's light, under stars we own the night, with every cheer and every...
Hello, welcome back to Project Spurs. We've only gone and done it, didn't we, lads? We've only gone and won a game for what feels like about 3 years. But it wasn't 3 years, it was about 3 months. But it felt bloody long time. And we only went and done it. We actually won. But it was in the Champions League. It's not in the Premier League just yet. Though, hopefully, changes are coming. And that monkey off our back is finally gone, because we needed some positivity. Today, the sun was shining. There were some players back from injury, and everything felt a little bit nicer this morning when I woke up, looked outside, nice sunshine, and thinking, actually, we only went and won a game. So, yeah, fantastic for me last night. Really, really happy. As I say, Tottenham picked up their first victory since January, and his first under the interim manager of Igor Tudor. The Champions League maybe, well, it has ended for us last night, but for me, I think it's an important win over Atletico Madrid, who are a decent side. Let's make no mistake about it. Obviously, being at home, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, that extends our unbeaten run in Europe to 25 games now. That is 21 victories and 4 draws. That is unbelievable. If only we could do that in the Premier League as well. But surely it does give us a huge boost heading into the final stretch in the Premier League, and especially on Sunday against Nottingham Forest. Lads, just coming round to everybody. Obviously, Cal, that we have a smile on the face there, looking happy. Have we got a Spurs top on today, or are we not sporting any Spurs memorabilia?
No Spurs top tonight, mate. I'm afraid it's in the wash. I had to wear it last night whilst watching the game, so I think I got a little bit too warm and excited in that. So definitely something to be happy about, though. And like you say, it's a great record in the Champions League. And realistically, we cannot lose that record, because it probably will be a few seasons until we are back in Europe. So that record will stand for a while as well.
I mean, I think it's going to be a while. I think it might be a good couple of years. And actually, you know what? I'm okay with that, because we need a big reset. We need a hard reset, essentially. But there are a number of players that, for me, are really stepping up in critical times. Joseph, back with us again, back with the boys. How did you see last night's game? And are you happy?
Yeah, no,
for instance?
Yeah, no, really happy. I thought we played really well. You know, I'm sure we'll talk about kind of, you know, my feelings about the game at the start. You know, seeing the lineup, I think a lot of us were kind of a little bit displeased seeing him go back to that kind of 3. But in general, the actual way the game went, I thought we were really good. I think we deserved the win completely and utterly. Like, we were better than them. And I think the biggest thing, like I said on the preview kind of podcast we did, was that the result doesn't really matter. It was about gaining confidence, kind of going into that game on Sunday, and again having minimal injuries and everything like that. And it looked like we kind of had everything we needed from that game go the right way. So yeah, really happy with it. And again, a really good performance, some really good football in there. You know, some good link-up play. We saw, you know, Xavi Simons really come into his own, which was nice to see, especially because we haven't seen it a lot from him this season. So yeah, and I'm mainly just positives. I can't think of any negatives to take from it. And it was good to finally see Tottenham get a win for the first time in God knows how long. So yeah,
Yeah.
really, really happy with the result. I'm really happy with the game.
I thought it was I thought we played 4-4-2 last night, really, and I was actually quite pleased with the 4-4-2. I thought you played well at the weekend with it against Liverpool, and then yesterday, obviously Danzo wasn't in, and Dragusin played at right back. And when you look,
I was kind of confused. I was a bit confused with how he was set up because it just the personnel didn't make sense to me.
Essentially, it looked like on paper it was going to be a back five, but actually when you watch it and break it down, and I always say to Callum when we watch the under-21s, first 10 minutes of the game, all we do is just watch where the players are positioned and set up. You don't do anything else, because then that will you'll quickly notice the formation, and then you can look at the other bits. Now, for me, it was a 4-4-2 because obviously Dragusin was quite far on the right hand side, too far to be on a third right back, and Pedro Porro was pushed up quite well. So it's definitely a 4-4-2. But the interesting bit for me, Phil, and I'm not sure how much you saw, given that you was on a bus for 8 hours traveling back from Amsterdam. I'm sure you saw the game well, but the interchange between Xavi and Matisse Tel was really interesting, because Matisse Tel started at the front two, but Xavi was able to drift inside as well. And then when he did drift inside, Matisse Tel showed some really good, positioning, getting himself out to the left-hand side and taking his man on. But the 4-4-2 for me seems to be working. And would you believe it, right? We've gone from all these different formations that these managers are coming up with, and the good old 4-4-2, old-fashioned 4-4-2, Phil, is king again.
I love it, to be honest. I was always a big fan of 4-4-2, a bit Harry Redknapp style, 2 wingers, 2 strikers, 2 proper fullbacks, 2 centre midfielders, nothing too complicated. Again, as we say, put those round pegs in round holes, and just let it go, a bit old school. And I was praying that he would play a 4-4-2. I'm not wearing a Spurs kit today because I was wearing it in Amsterdam and I had a Donna and a bit of the Donna spilt on it. So apologies for that. It's in the wash as well. Just thought I'd clear that up.
You don't need to come onto this show having to wear anything Tottenham. You can do what you want.
We'll see a bit of a sprayer, mate.
As long as it's not Arsenal.
No, there was a lot of onions in it, but
fucking hell, Cal.
It was really good, like just to see that 4-4-2. I was praying that he wouldn't go back to the back three or the back five, but he didn't, right? And you know what, Dragusin, fair play to him. I thought Dragusin actually played pretty well as well. Like, he didn't do anything majorly wrong. We know his passing isn't the best. We know if you put him under pressure, sometimes he's not great, but he did all right in that role. But like we said it before the game, didn't we? We said it before Liverpool even. Keep it simple. Keep the formation simple so the players know what they're doing. And that's what we were all hoping for. And he did it. And just to quickly address your point, Gary, about the interchange between the players. It works really well, like all of them, like
it was very fluid. Xavi, it was very obvious. It was very obvious.
Xavi also went back into deep quite often, to pick up the ball as well, and he interchanged perfectly with Archie Gray, who obviously had a wonder show, really, right? It was an absolutely majestic performance from Archie, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But all of that interchange was there. It wasn't struggling. Like, we weren't like, struggling to see where the guy was running to or where to pass it to. It kind of worked. So, fair play to the team. And I say especially fair play to Tudor, to be honest, for setting them up like that.
I think so. You could see that the 4-4-2 started, but he was, at times, we went into a 5 across the middle as well. And I think that was just in-game changes, depending on where we were in the game itself. But 4-4-2 again works. You can go into that, as I say, a 4-5-1. I liked it, and I'm not big, and I didn't think I would, but I like strikers. I used to be a striker myself, and I used to forward. And you don't see many like old-fashioned strikers anymore, Joseph, do you? And having 2 of them is even more sort of irregular, I guess. Because I mean, one time we had like Pavlyuchenko, Revrov, we had everybody, you know what I mean? At one point, Keynes, Ferdinand, Sheringham. We just had a Defoe. We had so many.
Yeah.
I was
We had
well,
so many at one point.
You had Defoe and Crouch like playing off of each other, and it just worked. It's like I mean, football in general has gone away from that. You don't see usually two strikers up front together in any aspect of Europe, you know, top European football.
No.
You know, you think about all of the top teams, you know, all of the teams that play in the Champions League, all of them would play with one striker up front. And it's nice to see, you know, especially for us right now, because I don't think we have a striker who is good enough to play on their own up front half the time, which is why they need the other striker alongside them to play off of each other. And it's working. It's clearly working, because they can finally, all those long balls where they don't, especially because for strikers, it's harder for them to win the long balls now. With how strong and big defenders are, it's hard for them to keep to get the ball down and trap it and have it under control. Usually it will bounce off of them. Well, if it bounces off of them and goes to the other striker, well, we've still got possession of the ball and we can start building forward. But what we've seen recently is it comes in, you know, from a goal kick or from a centre-back kicking it up, and it will bounce off of Richarlison, it will bounce off of Solanke or whatever, and it will just go straight to an opponent. Well, now, when we saw it against Liverpool, the amount of times it bounced off Solanke or Richarlison and went to each other, it allowed us to keep the ball and start actually progressing it up the field. So I really like two strikers. I think it works for our personnel right now. And especially it allows our wingers to stay wider, not need to come in and actually dictate what's going on off of a goal kick. They can, you know, Matthias Tell was on that touchline for most of that first half, especially. And he was dictating the game more or less. Like, he was the one we were going for. He was the vocal point we were trying to get the ball to. And again, it also gave him that freedom to be able to go even over to the other side. And that's where we get our goal from, our first goal. He goes all the way over to the other side and puts a cross in. And it just gave us so much more freedom. They weren't so structured and stuck in this certain formation where everyone needs to be in these same positions for everything to work. It allowed a bit of fluidity, and it was great to see. So, yeah, you know, again, we'll talk about the rest of the game, but just from how it's set up, we looked a different team. And I don't know if that's coming from a bit of confidence, if that's, again, just maybe the system, but the way that we were playing, the way we were pinging the ball about, it was so good to see, because we haven't seen it all season.
I actually enjoyed the game. Actually, like, it was enjoyable to watch. Probably from the first minute, we were we were going for it, and we were trying to take them on, and we looked like the players looked brave. They wanted the ball. They weren't scared to make a challenge. They weren't scared to cross the ball. They weren't scared to have a shot, even from range. And these are all things that I just felt were being hand tied by Thomas Frank. I genuinely believe he had them in handcuffs, and it was, let's get a corner, let's get a long throw on. And that's just not football for me. Last night was football, and it felt like it was Tottenham football as well. For anybody that is listening that's not aware, Midtjylland won, Nottingham Forest 2, so it's 2-2 on aggregate at the moment. There's about 15 minutes to go. So I know that Nottingham Forest have made 9 changes tonight as well for that. So they are taking tomorrow.
It'd be good if they go to be good if they go to extra time. Then maybe they'll have to.
It'd be nice if they could go to extra time. Absolutely. And tire them out a bit. Just so you're unaware, I'm sure everybody is aware, but it was Javi Simmons brace, Kolo Muani header was enough for Spurs to beat Atletico Madrid 3-2 on the night. Unfortunately, though, it didn't see us go through in the Champions League. Phil, we've probably all said and agreed this, that a win was important, but we wasn't too fussed if we went through, because the priority is the Premier League. I know how strange and crazy that sounds, because you want to go as far as you can, but it is the priority right now is the Premier League. But it's nice to get a victory heading into Sunday. You're on mute, Phil.
I think it was unlikely for us to pull the game back, pull the tie back, you know, based on the fact that we do still concede goals, right?
Yeah.
And that's not going to change in the remainder of the season massively. I think where we are changing is seeing how we play forwards and, you know, have the balance in the team and improve that. But I think we're still going to end up, you know, conceding maybe slightly better through the remaining games, but we're still going to concede some stupid goals. And it was difficult. I mean, it wasn't helped by the fact, obviously, that, you know, probably Atletico's first goal, in my opinion, shouldn't have stood. Thought it was a foul anyway. That might have changed things slightly. But the win is the most important thing. I predicted a 3-1 win, but that we wouldn't go through. And I think the win is just important for the fan base and for the team, for the players. You know, it's that belief, isn't it? It's just knowing that we can win again, that we can win again at home. You know, Dortmund was the last home win, I think, and probably the only other home win this season, I guess. So, you know, we need to give something to the fans that are there in the stadium. We need to build that sound. We need to build the energy for Sunday. I mean, obviously, I just watched it on TV, but the atmosphere was immense, right? Coming through. You know, like the sound was loud, the fans were singing, you know, and there was genuine excitement every time we came forward, and that's what we need to get back to. If it finished a draw as well, then, you know, we would have still taken a lot of positives, right? Because we would have played really well, you know. And the fact that we got that kind of last minute winner right at the end just gives that little cherry on top of the cake, isn't it? It gives us that extra boost for Sunday. It gives us belief again. We already got belief after Liverpool, didn't we? We, you know, the pod we did on, was it on Monday? Was, you know, had so much more positivity and energy in it, right? Compared to any of the last ones we've done. And, you know, 1 point and one performance changes everything. And now an additional win on top, with so many good individual performances as well. And, as I said, team performance, probably the best of the season, really, arguably, just brings so much to the table now. So I think every Spurs fan should be going in.
It was definitely it was definitely the best performance in a number of months. Maybe one of the earlier games was a very good performance. I think the PSG game was a really, really good performance from us, and that was the first game of the season. I thought we were excellent, actually. But you say the last wins this year: Frankfurt away 2-0, Borussia Dortmund 2-0 at home. Me and you were together watching that, and then we've had two draws, haven't we? With Brentford 0-0 and Sunderland 1-1. So it hasn't been the best of places for us this season at home. But as I say, in Europe, it's unbeaten now, Cal, in 25. If only we could do that in the Premier League, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are right now.
No, you're completely right, mate. It's one of them sort of $1 million questions. Why can we do it against some of the best teams in Europe and we can't do it against teams who we realistically consider lower than us in the Premier League? And unfortunately, I think a lot of it comes over that a lot of the players we have are more used to the European game compared to the Premier League, I think, which is one of them ones like with Xavi, Kolo Muani, people like that who haven't played in the Prem yet, who could come good, but realistically, European football suits them much better. But having a record like that's great. And we will keep that record until we are next in the Champions League or the Europa League or the Conference League, or if they finally create another cup. They surely will, probably at some point, to get more money out of us as fans. There will probably be the UEFA Conference League, something like that. But
well, I want to win it if we do have the UEFA Conference League. I want to win it.
Well, you never know. We could do. If not, they'll probably just call it the Audi Cup. We love one of them, don't we? We always get that. But
do you know what? I don't know if you remember the Cup Winners' Cup. I used to like that.
Yeah, it was great having something like that, and we like a pre-season cup, don't we, as well? Different bits like that, but it's all tinker toy trophies. But having played against some of the best teams in Europe, we've shown we can do it, because obviously Dortmund are no sort of pushover. PSG, we actually went toe-to-toe with them. We went toe-to-toe with Atletico, who I think are one of the favourites for this year, because Simeone is working to get like this bumper contract, isn't he? He is working his socks off with them. And I don't think we played well in 9 out of 10 games, I think, in the Champions League, metaphorically speaking. I think the only game we were probably crap in was maybe the Villarreal game, where we were so toothless. Having this in Champions League, we want to see this, don't we?
There was Monaco away as well, to
Oh,
be fair.
Yeah, Monaco. I was going to say Monaco. That was a hard watch, Monaco, wasn't it? You're looking at this year's Champions League, and I know that everyone raves about the Premier League being the best league in the world, and I do an MLS podcast, been on a couple of them now. It's not mine; it's somebody else's. But I go on there, and he talks about the Premier League, and they do talk about it in such glowing references. Well, yesterday, you know, we did go out, okay, but we could easily have lost that game. If you look at Newcastle, they lost 7-2 at the Camp Nou. Chelsea lost to PSG 8-2 over at aggregate. It's not been a great showing from the Premier League sides, and it mostly it's because of the way we're playing. We're trying to nick a corner and a throw on, and the players, these European teams, Joseph, they're so much better technically and together. I saw a stat earlier. It was something like 91 million was the collective amount of money spent by Barcelona for that team. And it was something like nearly 400 million for Newcastle. And look at the grave difference. Obviously, most of it's coming through La Masia, but it's a huge difference in terms of quality in the Champions League this year. I don't think the Premier League is as good as people are making out. Certainly this year, I think is the worst Premier League I've seen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's the style of football we're seeing in the Premier League right now is what is so demoralizing. Like the fact that, you know, obviously we're Tottenham fans, we're not going to speak highly of Arsenal. And Arsenal are a great side defensively, but the way they're going to win this league, it will be one of the worst ways we've seen a team win the league. It's so boring. The football they play is awful to watch. And I think what we know about the Premier League is, I think in total, the full 20 teams, I think it's the most competitive league in the world. I think some of the lower teams would beat some solid teams abroad. I think it's just the fact is those top teams abroad, they're so much better than the top teams in the Premier League right now. You know, when you watch Barcelona play, when you watch PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, the way they play football is so much more enjoyable to watch. I think, you know, we're seeing it now, you know, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, you know, we've got Palace as well. You could feel like all of them could possibly go on and win the Europa League, the Conference League, because I think they are some of the best teams in that competition, and they're not the best teams in the Premier League. You know, these are kind of mid-table teams, yet they might win these European competitions. So I think overall the Premier League, because of the amount of money that's in it and the competition throughout the league is really good. I think that's what makes the Premier League kind of the best league in the world. But in terms of the actual top football and the way that we play it, yeah, I think, you know, Pep Guardiola, Arteta, they're kind of ruining what we see as what football is. You know, watching PSG it's like you're watching old, you know, football when I was growing up, you know, watching Messi, watching these players, like they just run games and they were allowed to. And in the Premier League, there's no character, there's no individualism, and that's such a shame now. And we've seen in the Champions League, you know, these last couple of weeks, individualism will rule. You know, you're seeing Kvaratskhelia absolutely tear Chelsea apart, and that is great to watch. You want to see that, like you want to watch it. So, and the fact is, if he comes to the Premier League, he will lose that because the manager will coach it out of him. He won't allow him to have that individualism, and that's a problem.
That is the problem. These bigger, these talented players, you know, your Ginolas or your Bales, your Giggs, your Cantonars, your whoever else, you know, they are being coached out of it. Obviously, you watch a lot of Italian football. I grew up a massive, obviously a Tottenham fan, but a massive sort of supporter and viewer of Barcelona. And I've been to the Camp now, I don't know, 30, 40 times, and me and Phil are probably going to go there soon as well. And yesterday, Rafinha that come from the Premier League, everyone was like, he's average, but he's absolutely tearing teams to piece because they're giving him license to play. That just, you know, I think we need to be doing that more in the Premier League. We have to remember that this is an entertainment, and for all its stuff, it isn't the best football in the world. But the MLS are so heavily build their sides around a number 10. So all their designated players, which, you know, they're allowed 2 or 3 of them, they're normally always a number 10, and that's always their best player because they want to attack. And do you know where the worst players are? The defense, because they're not bothered about that. So they're happy with a 4-3 or a 5-6, whatever. But for us, it's entertaining to watch. Just in terms of the current scores for English clubs, Crystal Palace are away at AEK Larnaca, a Cypriot team. It's actually 1-1. So that's also 1-1 on aggregate with 5 minutes to go. Larnaca have had a player sent off, and it's still 2-1. Midtjylland and Nottingham Forest. It's 2-2 on aggregate. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Forest will go through because they've scored 2 away goals. I think
Hey,
they
don't-
might.
hey,
Away
is
goals
no-
don't count anymore.
There is no away
Do they
goal.
not? Do they not
No,
go
so-
through? Oh no, of course
They're
it
all
isn't. Oh,
gone.
brilliant!
It'll
So that's
be
going to
extra
go to
time.
extra time.
Extra time and penalties.
That's fantastic. So we want to keep it at that.
I can't
will
believe
keep
how many
everyone-
changes. I can't believe how many changes
He's made
they
9
for that.
It's
That's
made
crazy,
9.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It shows the
I'm gonna-
importance of staying in the Premier League, doesn't it? The fact that even Nottingham Forest, who haven't been in Europe enough, you know, considering their history and things, for them to even go, we're throwing this away because we don't care about it. It shows the importance
well,
of the Premier League.
You look at the players they've brought on. Nico Williams came on, Morello came on, and Morgan Gibbs-White all came on the 61st minute. 8 minutes later, they then conceded. And then they've brought Elliot Anderson and Ayana on as well in the 75th. It's still 2-2 on aggregate. I'll keep everyone up to date with those scores. It's still Palace 1-1. And we've got a couple of questions from those in the chat. If you like to keep throwing questions over, that'd be good. I was going to tweet this actually out yesterday, but I didn't at one point. He is one of my favourite strikers to watch right now, and that is Julian Alvarez at Atletico Madrid. What a player he is. Phil, he would be unbelievable. I thought he was fantastic at City. He would be unbelievable in this Tottenham team.
He's amazing, but I think he's still almost a bit under the radar, kind of, you know, in European football. Like, no one ever talks about him. You don't really see him, you know, his name lit up right at the top. Maybe it's because he plays for Atletico and not for, you know, Real or Barca, just in terms of, you know,
He's won everything, isn't he? He's won the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup. He's won the World Cup. He's won the Copa America. Everything.
I think he might even be one of the youngest kind of players to do that, right? To pretty much win everything. And he's still only, I'm guessing here completely, but he's what, 25?
I think he's younger than that.
He's around it though, 23, 24.
Yeah, something like that.
He is. He's 26. That's surprising.
Okay. But he's the perfect kind of striker because he's not, you know, he's obviously fast. He's tricky. He's a fantastic finisher. You saw that bit of skill he did to get away from.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Dragusin or Porro, but
Dragusin.
On the byline.
You know, on the byline.
Yeah.
You know,
no, it was Mickey actually, wasn't it? It was Mickey. He got past.
Yeah,
he put Mickey on his arse.
Unbelievable.
Even better, and he was probably unlucky. Like, he could have scored there, but he brings all the attributes. He's not like a tiny striker. You know, he's actually built quite well, but he's not too big. You know, he's a perfect size. When he went to Atletico, I mean, it was a pretty big fee, wasn't it, at the time?
It was, yeah.
But it was a bit surprising still to me, you know, that move that happened like that at the time, and to Atletico. I mean, obviously, Atleti are like an amazing team. You know, Simeone's been there for years, Champions League final, you know, league titles. But still, you know, it's not Real or Barca, you know, in terms of like fighting every season for the title there, fighting for the Champions League, getting that investment every season into the team. I do wonder whether, you know, he's been there a couple of years now, actually, and he's on fire this season. I do wonder whether there's going to be some teams maybe
Barcelona's
trying
been linked with him.
come in for him.
Barcelona have been linked with him recently.
There was some
they're
links
now
away.
able to do the what? Yeah, they're now able to do the 1-for-1, aren't they? Because of the finances is better for Barcelona. So you never know. But
the one thing, I think there was some reports that he is probably going to stay though at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
I think he's been asked about it a bunch because obviously a lot of people are wondering. And the thing that, you know, frustrates me, and I think would frustrate a lot of Tottenham fans, is the one team I could see him going to is possibly Arsenal. If he was going to leave, if he was going to come back to the Premier League, 100% he could be at Arsenal, and that would be horrible.
Yeah, I don't see him coming to us.
Apparently Bayern are tracking him as well, but Bayern seem to be tracking everyone at the moment to see how they can sort of replace Kane and Diaz because of their aging problem.
And
which
his
is
goal
massive
yesterday,
mark.
if you've
That
not
goal,
seen, if
that
anyone
goal
has
was
not seen
ridiculous.
Harry Kane's
Oh,
goal yesterday, is unreal.
Insane.
What a player! If he doesn't get the Ballon d'Or, it's an absolute travesty. He's unbelievable as a footballer and a goal scorer. Just what a player! But yesterday, obviously, the win. Players returning. Lucas Bergvall, it was great to see him play. Destiny Udogie was great. First minute in as well, he had to do a massive sprint, didn't he? And I thought, oh god, here we go. That hammy's going to ping, but it didn't. Plus, I think this is the most critical point for me, though, and I think I said it on the Mondays pod. Nobody looked like they came off with a knock, and there hasn't been any reports of any further injuries. So that's a massive, massive plus for all of us. Just a quick one for you all, really. Obviously, as I say, sun shining today, which just made everything feel a little bit nicer, especially after a win. Phil, you had a 9 hour trip back to Frankfurt. That's some dedication watching the game on that, but you managed to see it all okay?
Yeah, I got lucky on a stream somehow on mobile data, and I think the whole of the back of the bus ended up trying to watch my laptop actually. Although I did have about a 4-minute delay, like lagging behind the live thing, so I had to turn the chat off, and it's annoying because it sometimes just starts hanging, doesn't it? And then you don't know where you're going to kind of come back in and stuff. But yeah, it was all right. It was quite nice actually to watch it. It was actually quite nice watching on the bus. Took some time away, and
sometimes you get these really long delays on streams, don't you? And it's I remember when we used to watch them in the pub at football, and you'd know that because everyone's like betting after your game, you've got your accumulators on, so your phone's constantly out waiting for it, and then you're like, oh, Spurs have scored, and it's not even happened on the TV yet, and it's it's one of them.
So, Phil, was this stream the official TNT stream, or was this?
It was, yes, it was. And we're not going to go into anything
was,
outside of that. It was the official because he's a good boy, Callum.
It was TNT. I mean, the logo was well on show as well.
Yeah,
like it was definitely TNT.
See?
It was the official
well
one.
Well done, Phil. Well
done. Where was it routed through, mate?
Yeah, we're going to move on swiftly, Callum. Thank you. And we're going to mute you for further information of such privacy. We do not advertise piracy on this channel at all. Anybody that is watching. There was another question. Let me grab that. I'm assuming this is Adrian's. Normally is. Adrian, hope you're good, mate. It says, panel, do you fear that with players coming back from injury, Tudor will revert to a back three? Adrian, that keeps me awake at night thinking that he might go to a back three. Joseph, what about you? Is it keeping you awake?
100%. I mean, I think we were all saying it in the chat yesterday. We were all worried he might go back to a back three. We said it on the podcast. I think the one thing though, he's got to take from what he's had in these last two games, which is the only real positives he's had his whole tenure, that this is the way we need to set up and play. Now, Nottingham Forest is going to be a different game. This is the one thing. This is the one thing I do think we need to kind of caveat with the way we've been playing. I think against Liverpool and against Atletico Madrid, both teams, when going into those games, I don't think either team were going, let's defend. Even Atletico Madrid, I think they're trying to change their philosophy. I know they've always been known as a defensive side, but I feel like Simeone is trying to change that, and he has so far this season. They score a lot more goals, and they do concede a lot more goals. The thing is, going at home against Forest is a completely different type of game, where Forest will probably be coming there going, we're content with a 0-0. We don't want to concede a goal. They're going to be so much more defensively solid, and we're going to have to try and break them down. And that's going to be a different type of game. Like we saw the first goal we scored, how free Kolo Muani was in the box when we put that cross in. That will not happen against Nottingham Forest. They will not allow that, because they'll set up defensively. They'll try and nullify our attack, and they'll try and hit us on the counter. So it's going to be a different game. But yeah, I just hope he sticks with that 4. And the same again, it was the same with Liverpool. They're not a team that are going to sit back and defend. They just don't do that, and they especially weren't going to do that at home against Tottenham. So yeah, it will be a different game. But yeah, I hope he stays with a back 4, and we just got to hope they can keep on creating. But it will be more difficult, definitely.
Absolutely. Phil, Archie Gray last night, for his probably arguably his best performance for Tottenham. 88% pass accuracy, 81 minutes played, 57 touches in Madrid's half. and 9 recoveries. He is turning into some player, isn't he, Archie Gray?
That was just simply majestic yesterday. After 3-4 minutes of the game, he was doing everything right and he was in the right position. He was doing interceptions. He was passing it simply. He was dribbling. He was going back into defense. He was like dribbling with the ball out. He was passing vertically. It was an absolute masterclass yesterday, and he kept it up through the whole game. You know, he didn't even drop off. Almost got better as the game went on. It's no surprise, is it, to the people? You know, I think all of us, you know, have rated him from the beginning. You know, there's some Spurs fans out there that for some reason haven't. But, you know, if you actually spend any time watching him, you can see that he's an absolute talent. He's not just a talent anymore, right? Because he's played almost 100 professional games in his career. You know, at the age of, well, he's 20 now. It was his birthday last week, I think. But imagine that, 100 games in the top 2 leagues in England before you're 20.
And you know as well, what's more impressive to me is most of them has been at right back or centre back, and he's a centre midfielder.
He's had to fill in. You know, he's played the majority of his Spurs career, if we're being honest, in misfiring, dysfunctional teams, really, up to a certain extent as well, right? He had to play centre back under Ange, you know, last season for that big stretch where he was just literally, you know, playing as one of the main centre backs. Then he was pushed out onto the wing. Then he was pushed out on, you know, right back. Obviously, he played in midfield. That's where he kind of started. But, you know, he can play anywhere. And, you know, there's that heat map, isn't there? I think I shared it in the WhatsApp group where I think credit goes to the Extra Inch podcast for that, for kind of just seeing everywhere where he's kind of played on the pitch, right, in his Spurs tenure so far. And he's literally covered every blade of grass. This guy, you know, he's a future Spurs captain for sure. I think he's future England captain material, and I'm not going overboard with that. This guy can get to the very top if he continues.
There's a lot of people in the club speaking very highly of him, isn't there? You think though, Phil, he's played 77 times for Tottenham at 20 years old.
It's just it's absolutely insane, you know. And yeah, he's come in some of those injury. You know, last season he obviously came in maybe a bit more when there were injuries and stuff, but he's made his place or his kind of name on the team sheet through his own actions, right? He's put in the hard graft and performances to actually get himself being picked every week. And we just need to look after him, man. Like we need to keep hold of him. I don't know how long his contract is as it stands, because I don't think he's signed a new contract since he's been here, but I'm not sure. I might be wrong on that.
No, he hasn't. I think he's still 2029, I think. And I think Callum will probably looks like he's looking it up now.
This summer, we'll be offering him something right now, 100%.
I think he needs to be with a manager that's looking to progress and develop players. There's obviously a couple that we're being linked with. Cal, just coming to you on the contract. When's that till?
2030. So he signed a 6-year contract.
Wow.
There is an, like most Spurs contracts as well, there's an optional 1-year extension on the back of that as well. Like with a lot of them, that has to be agreed between the club and the player. But usually
there's another 4 years on his original contract.
And he's not even on top wages either. He's only on 75k a week. So he's not even one of our highest earners. Well, in terms of more senior players, at least. But
no, is it? I mean,
in terms of 20-year-olds,
he's
ain't bad, is it?
He's better than Gallagher, and Gallagher's on 200k now, isn't he? Since
I'm concerned about Conor Gallagher. I must admit, I'm not sure when all these players come back, and I'm sure we can. I think during the international break, we're going to go in depth with all the players. I've got some ideas in mind, and I'm sure you all have as well. But I'm quite concerned about Conor Gallagher's future. Really, someone's future I'm not concerned about. Cal is Callum Olasesi, who again came on last night, assisted in. I guess you can call it an assist in Xavi winning a penalty. Again, Olasesi, I don't want to say Callum. Olasesi is looking very comfortable within the side. And do you know what? For all the pelters and annoyance we had with him, you kind of have to give Igor Tudor another sort of tip of your bow for this, because he's put him in there, and Callum is looking good.
Well, it comes back to what we were saying the other day about why so many top European teams were looking at him. And we have seen 2 debuts in the same week for youth players, haven't we? In Roswell and Olosesti. And obviously, Callum has now probably played more Champions League games than a lot of people in the world. He has had a very positive effect in the last 2 games. I do think that he will probably be maybe 5th choice now at the moment. If we're saying behind, looks like Gray and Sarah number 1 and 2, probably Bergvall at number 3, with then Conor Gallagher, and probably Olosesi is number 5. So that pushes Basuma and other people out. So we cannot.
Bentancur.
Yeah, exactly. We can't stress enough. And I mean, I've just had a look at his contract as well, and Callum's with us until 2029 as well. So he's still got another 3 years on his deal, which could probably be extended further. So I don't think we have any concern over him, and I think he will have an impact to play. And I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe gets 1 start before the end of the year, potentially.
Hopefully, if we've secured the Premier League, he deserves it. For me, and I think we all agree this, and all have probably said this after the Liverpool game, I would much rather he's playing than someone like Basuma. No disrespect to Basuma. Basuma's an excellent footballer, but he's not going to be here next season. I want to be developing and playing players that come through our academy. Essentially going to be here next season. Before we sort of do look ahead at Sunday, pleased to announce, and it is an announcement, that Nottingham Forest have gone to extra time, which is what we all wanted. So I'm very happy to. Oh no, it just came up saying waiting for extra time, and it's now changed back. I don't know.
No, they are in extra time.
Yeah. They are currently in extra time, and it's fantastic. And
Gal,
they've got most of their first team players are playing now as well, so that is good.
Gal, just a little one, just on the back of the Olosesi bit as well. Tiernan Thompson has posted saying that he's back soon as well from injury.
Excellent.
The same with Williams, Barnett, and Byfield. So maybe, just maybe, we may see Tudor utilise him in the coming weeks as well.
And then we'll also got Mason Melia, who's now training with the under-21s as well, which is good. And it'll be nice to see probably those. That 4 players. You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing them in the 21s for a week or so, just get some minutes into legs. Hopefully, we might see. I did ask about, but I didn't get any answers on what the injuries were on those players, unfortunately. But it's nice to see them potentially coming back. That's for sure. I'm going to come to you, Joseph, on somebody that I think is an absolutely outstanding footballer, but perhaps hasn't had a lot of luck this season, but it's starting to come about. And I do have some concerns if we stick with a 4-4-2, where he actually might play. But Xavi said after the game, now every game is a final for us, not only Sunday, but it starts on Sunday, and we have to keep this momentum. I think it's really good from tonight or last night, and we have to bring this on Sunday, that energy as well. If the energy, the passion, the desire to win is there, we will win. We know every game that we're playing at home, how important it is. Of course, things didn't go the way we wanted this season, but I'm really grateful for the way they are trying to help us in terms of talking about us, the fans. What I would like to say to them is please try to help us in the next game. Obviously, he picked up a man of the match trophy last night, 2 goals, 89% pass accuracy, 77 touches, and 5 passes into the final third. Joseph, I think it was a pretty stellar performance, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of his better performances we've seen in a Spurs shirt since he's been here. I think he has struggled to adjust to the Premier League. I think the physicality, and sometimes, I love the way he moves with the ball. He can dribble really, really well, but he holds on to it for too long sometimes, and he gets past 1 or 2, and then the third one will take him out. And then again, because of the physicality of what the Premier League is, most of them aren't fouls. He is quite lightweight, and sometimes he just needs to release it a bit quicker. But what we saw yesterday is what we expected from Xavi Simons. We saw him small, quick passing, like linking up the play really well into the forwards, into the wingers, just doing everything you want from him. And that's what we needed him to be all season. Unfortunately, yeah, it's taken him a bit of time. But yeah, it's about him now, keep on going with this kind of form. He's done it. He's been a lot better in the Champions League. And again, maybe it's like what Cal said previously, our players are more suited to the European football, style of football, but we need it now in the Premier League. We need him to have that same impact as he did last night against Forest on Sunday and against the games after that. So, yeah, great performance, but we need to see more of it because we haven't seen enough of it from him. It's a lot of money we bought him for. He comes with a lot of expectation. And again, just that kind of physicality and that kind, it's that sharpness, that quickness in his mental game as well, to release the ball quicker and to know what to do. I think sometimes he's a bit slow. And you're not given as much time in the Premier League to do anything. Everything's a lot quicker. So, yeah, we need him to adjust. The one thing I would say previously as well, just about about midfielders, and I know you mentioned about Conor Gallagher. I don't know if we're going to talk about him later, but we've got the one position we have a lot of depth in is midfield in terms of the amount of players you actually have in terms of what, obviously, Basuma will probably go, but then you've got Bentancur, Paulinho, who will most likely leave. But then you've got Bergvall, you've got Gray, you've got Papsar. There's so many players, and now Conor Gallagher. There's so many players in that position. And I think a lot of us have all said, well, we want another one. We want a better one. We want Alex Scott. We want Adam Wharton. We want Angelo Stiller. We want somebody like that to come in. So at that point, it's like, yeah, where do all these players fit in? Because there's already, at the moment, Archie Gray, for me, he is the one that will be there, and he needs to be the starting midfielder next season. Like, Tudor said it last night that Archie Gray's best position is midfield and he needs to keep playing there. So at that point, it's like, well, you've got Pape Sarr, you've got Conor Gallagher, you've got Bentancur, you've got Olasasi now, you've got
James Maddison.
Maddison. Kulusevski is somewhat been almost converted into a midfielder in ways, and he's played really well there. So there's so many players in that position, and now you're paying Conor Gallagher 200k for really to be what, 4th, 5th choice?
And
I'm concerned by it. I'm concerned by it.
When you think as well, that interview that Alfie Devine did at Preston today as well, saying that he obviously plays in midfield and wants to play for Spurs. Same with Jamie Donnelly. You've got Tyrese Hall. All lots of players who want a pathway into the first as well. We've got a lot of midfielders just who are good enough or not good enough. That's what you got to weed out the chaff for.
Yeah, and like you say, we've got a lot in there. A lot of them are very good and very young, and probably coming with an experienced head in there will help. But actually, that's the two youngsters, Sarr and Gray, last night, I thought were excellent. I've really liked Sarr. I think he's a very good football player.
They've got really good balance together. They really suit each other well, and positionally they seem to be on point as well. They really do have attributes that kind of match each other well. And Sarr actually has been particularly good, hasn't he? Like the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Kind of come back in with a bang. Pretty much in line with the rest of the team performing a bit better as well. So again, I wonder what the conversations have been in the background.
Do you think it's Tudor? It's got to be all Tudor, right?
I think
it
is. I think it is. He's obviously, look, we don't know exactly what he's saying to the players every single day on the pitch, or whether he's been doing one-to-ones, in his office. We don't know exactly, but he's obviously been doing work with the players. He's had conversations with the players. Maybe they did have this kind of open floor, where they all got together as a team and a squad and basically, had an open discussion about the challenges, about maybe some home truths as well. Not just from the manager, but maybe within the squad as well, like a 360 feedback kind of thing.
Well, it was rumoured, wasn't it? It happened.
Yeah, stuff like that has definitely happened. And I think Tudor has probably just like connected the dots a bit and, had those conversations. But look, it's working. So, we have to just obviously continue doing that. But Sarr and Gray, and coming back to Gallagher just quickly, he's a great squad player, like Gallagher. He's got the class for the Premier League. He's proven it, hasn't he? He's captained Chelsea for a season under Poch. He's played for England. He's played abroad in Spain for 2 years. He's got the attributes to be a really, really good midfield player in the Premier League. I think his problem is like he's not just classically like a number 8. He's not just classically like a number 6. He can play number 10 as he's done as well. You know, he's quite versatile, but he's not good enough, you know, as Joseph said, to be that Wharton or to be that other guy that we still need. We still need that deep lying playmaker, as they call him nowadays, don't they? Like Morgan Gibbs White, Wharton, that kind of player. We still need that, and we need to spend big money if we really want to get back to doing it.
Mine's Alex Scott as well.
Yeah,
Alex Scott.
I think he's perfect.
He's good enough. He's perfect, and he's got the history. He's got the Spurs.
And he's a Spurs fan. He made some comments on Archie Gray's Instagram post today as well, saying how good he was, and which is also nice.
Imagine them two together, Archie Gray and Alex Scott. That would be amazing. And then we're most likely going to hopefully have Pochettino, and if he goes back to that 4-2-3-1, you've got Alex Scott and Archie Gray, Xavi Simons in front of them, and then whoever on the wings, Mikey Moore, Tell, Kudus. That looks really
Maddison.
Yeah. That looks so much more. And again, you do need to have the squad depth, like you said. I think a lot of us are kind of frowning at the 200k a week, which is a lot. But then again, Tottenham have said they want to break their wage structure. So if you want to do that, then fair enough. You keep him and you have him as a squad player. And Pochettino has previously worked with him as well, and he obviously really liked him. So yeah, maybe there's no issue. Maybe we're creating issues out of nothing. But I still think we do need a player in there.
I felt like the signing of him was the nod to Poch. I must admit, I still think that signing is a nod to Poch coming in.
What we need though, and I think what will help is when we get someone like Poch, we will obviously build a better structure in the team, in terms of the tactics, and we get back to the point that if someone's missing for a game, or if you're just resting players, that you can bring Gallagher in. Or you can bring Sarr in or Gray or Kulusevski to play in midfield, and there's not going to be a major impact to the team. Yeah, maybe you're going to lack some little thing. Do you remember in the old days when Wenger was at the other lot, and basically whoever they brought into their team, they played exactly the same way. They were effective at all levels.
But that's what you need.
That's what we need to get back to. That's what we need to get back to. And someone like Gallagher, he fits that role really well, but we just need to hope that when he comes in, because as you say, we want Archie Gray to start in midfield, don't we now? Because Archie Gray is he can play, of course he can play everywhere, but he's wasted at right back. We don't need him.
He's having to play there though, Phil. He's having to play there because the recruitment has been so poor. And in terms of we're consistently going from one extreme to the other. We're going from one manager's style to another manager's style that has no alignments. And like you said, with you can use Arsene Wenger's and even Sir Alex Ferguson. You knew how they played football and how they recruited, and those players came in. And all most of the time, you didn't notice that there was a difference there because there was an alignment. And we have massively missed that. I think being in the Champions League this year has been a bit of a hindrance from our rebuild. And next season, that we're not going to be in Europe. So that is, in a way, a good opportunity for us to start building back to what we want to be and who we want to be. But I think we need to be unified in terms of who is in the dugout and have that patience for him. And this is why it always comes back to Poch, I guess.
Tottenham have been in a poor position for a while now. Like in terms of squad management, you look at how Arsenal have done it, and it's annoying to use Arsenal as the example, but they have done it really well in terms of you look at their back line. Their backup back line is as good as most Premier League back lines. Ben White, Mosquera, Hincapié, Calafiori, Miles Lewis. They've got if one's injured, the next one comes in, and there's not a gaping hole, which there has been for them previously. When a big player got injured, they were missing. They don't have that now. And Tottenham have got that in terms of when Porro's out and if somebody's out on the left, Spence can't play right back. So you've got to play Archie Gray right back. Or then if Spencer or Doggy's out, no one can play left back. And it's we need to build so you have two players that you trust in every single position on the pitch, as well as having some other floating players on the in the reserves on the bench that will come in and do a job. And that's what Tottenham need to build. So it's whether they feel like they've got that at the moment. I mean, Sousa, the little bits we've seen of him, I really like. him and Udogie could definitely be the left backs going forward, depending on Udogie's injury record. You've got Spence and Porro. If they're both going to stay, that's good. Centre back's going to need an overhaul because I imagine players will leave. But again, it's having like 2 solid players in every position and profile in that sense. So like in midfield, you need 2 deep-lying playmaker type midfielders. You need 2 kind of maybe more progressive players or more kind of, defensive players. Then you need 2 kind of creative midfielders. You've got that with Maddison and Xavi Simons. But we need to have that.
Yeah.
And right
Yeah,
now,
you need a
it.
squad. You need that depth. We will go into this in depth during the international break because I think all of you've got ideas in your mind how you'd like to build a squad, and we'll do an episode with maybe all together but individually of you being able to build a squad, and I'll even build that. I'll build it while you'll see it. So I'll probably like put Football Manager on the half the screen, and you'll tell me what your squad is, and I'm going to put the squad, build it because there's an editor. You can just edit it in, and we will build your squad and show you what it would look like and things like that. Because I think that's a really good way to look ahead. But I don't want to get too far advanced because you've still got some things to talk about from yesterday, and obviously a really important game coming up. Igor Tudor did say from last night. Sorry, I'm having some problems with my mouse for some reason, so apologies if I'm all over the place. I don't know what's going on, but there we go. I think it's back now. Igor Tudor said on last night, he said, from the first moment, the fans recognised that the team will try to do everything they can. So from the first moment until the last, they were with us. It was beautiful. Thanks. That is from Igor Tudor. I don't know. He's really growing on me. And maybe last week I was asking him to leave, but it's just the difference of a win can do. Obviously, we exit the competition, but a win on top of the draw against.
I think it comes down to honesty, doesn't it?
I think that's what it is, yeah.
Because Frank we had so much waffle from Frank in terms of sugarcoating it. Igor's been very honest to us. He's told us we're a shit show, but he's actually praising it when stuff is going right. But he still said that it was great having the fans there last night, but he still said they hurt. He said the guys hurt, that they conceded the goals, and that they actually went out of the Champions League as well. He was honest about it. I think that's
what it is.
That's what we want.
I think it's because he's clearly not great with English, so he's just to the point. And actually, that is when it goes well. That is really what we like. And I kind of like his attitude, and he's calling stuff out when it needs to be called out. He's called out refs. He's got, he got fined today, didn't he? And things like that. But equally, what I honestly, Joseph, think that it is, he ain't going to be here in the summer, and he knows it. Yeah. So what's it matter to him? I think I
was going to say that. I was going to say, I don't think he has no loyalties to anybody. He can call out the board if he wants to. They're not going to sack him right now because they're like, well, we kind of need him. Like, we can't just sack him because what are we going to do? We're in a position where we might get relegated. So he does have that kind of nonchalance because there's no real reason for him to be any other way. Like, he's doing a job for Tottenham. Tottenham aren't doing a job for him. So, it's, his character and who he is, I don't mind. I've never minded. I just haven't always loved his tactics, and I haven't really loved, what he did previously. But again, his job is just to keep Tottenham in the Premier League. And it doesn't matter what way he does it. I don't care what way he does it. It doesn't have to be playing scintillating football. Just pick up enough points for us to stay in the league, and then off you go. And I'm sure he's fine with that. I'm sure everybody at the club's fine with that. And again, I have liked his press conferences. I like that he's not going to take any shit from people. Like, with that, I know it was a bit of a miscommunication on the Liverpool game with the reporter and him, but the reporter's kind of saying like, oh, do you feel like you've done enough to, to keep the job? And it's like, why are you asking me?
Yeah,
I liked it as well. And he's just like, I'm not here for some bullshit. I'm just here to manage a team. You can keep all of that. I don't care. I'm just going to manage my team. Leave me alone. And I like it. And again, like you said, he doesn't sugarcoat it. Like that. We heard the same thing every single week under Thomas Frank, just going, oh, we're going to keep on trying. We're going to keep on improving. And it's like, shut up. We're not seeing it. Like you keep on saying the same stuff, but nothing has changed. Like at least if we play bad on the Tudor, he'll come out and go, yeah, we played like shit. And it's like
He did,
thank you
didn't
for
he? He
telling us.
said
Exactly.
defense is rubbish, midfield's
Oh.
not very good, and the striker was terrible as well.
And it's like at least
He's
we're hearing
honest.
what we're all thinking. It's not like this is all going like something's going wrong, and we're like, what's going on? What's going on? It's like, no, we are just kind of bad. At least you're telling us the truth. So
Well,
I don't
hopefully
know,
we're
yeah.
not bad going forward, because obviously we're heading into Forest. Forest now are in the second half of extra time. It's still 2-1 to Forest. So at the moment it's going to penalties. Crystal Palace have scored in their extra time though. So both teams there in extra time. Villa are just kicking off. Obviously got the point against that at Anfield, didn't we? Leading into a critical weekend with Nottingham Forest. Cal, are you confident heading in?
Oh, definitely. And I think if Forest lose tonight, one, it'll put their heads down, and two, they freaking deserve it after how they screwed Palace over getting into the
Yes.
league
Yeah.
as well, and then to take the piss out of it tonight, sort of thing. So I feel very confident, and I think the whole part with the parade, obviously me and you are going to it, and the support of the team bus with it, we could be a 12th man, and we can easily make sure we are heard from the rafters supporting the team. And with potentially having Richarlison back at the weekend, Solanke back, and João Palhinha as well, no other reported injuries at the moment. Like you said, with Bergvall and Udogie coming in, we'll probably have at least a couple of youngsters on the bench as well. Our squad is finally looking like a squad as we come to penultimate time. And I'm not going into a squad builder moment, but actually having options now is becoming a little bit more like illuminating. I'm a lot more illuminated to what I think Tudor could do with us.
Wait,
Joe, you made a really good point there that Forest have made 9 changes today, and they've showed absolutely no respect to that trophy, to the competition, I guess the better term to use, despite demanding they're in it. I've actually forgotten about that, and I hope they lose on
Greek mafia idiot.
I hope they lose on penalties, because you think, right, they're in Midtjylland at the moment, so that's what's that, Denmark. So I've got to come back tonight, early tomorrow. They're going to have maybe a day rest, and then they're down to Tottenham. Whereas we've got 2 days rest, 3 days rest, haven't we? So
what's
let's hope we do it.
What's the news on Dominic Solanke? Is he okay now? Like,
he had a hip injury, didn't he? Like a hip knock.
But I don't. Is he going to be available? Because I saw one thing somewhere saying he's going to be available, but I don't know if it was confirmed.
Yeah, Tudor said he's going to be fine. Yeah, I think it was just a precaution, because at the end of the day, look, we kind of knew we were out, so it's probably just a bit of precaution. Obviously, there is getting back to this weekend. Obviously, a huge game. But for me, one thing I noticed last night, not just the togetherness of everyone, because you can clearly see it was there, that everybody was looking a bit more braver and wanting the ball feel. But for me, clearly the fitness levels were miles different in comparison to Thomas Frank. Under Thomas Frank, we were averaging 108 kilometers a game. And under Igor Tudor, we're now doing 115 kilometers.
We mentioned this briefly before that. I can't remember if it was before a Liverpool game or just after that. I think it was after Liverpool, actually, about the kilometers and miles distances traveled. And we haven't talked about it yet. Like, it's fitness. When Tudor came in, he identified it straight away, didn't he? I remember in his first week, he said that the players were below par, that they didn't have the energy levels, they didn't have the stamina levels. And he's been working on that in the background. And it's so clear now, isn't it? We knew that we didn't have energy at the end under Thomas Frank. We knew that we there was something missing.
What was Frank and his coaches actually doing? What were they doing for their money?
I know they were watching Arsenal DVDs.
Oh, what the Prime series? Was they watching that?
I don't know. Just any Arsenal DVD.
Edison created
light bulb.
Light bulb. We could use this. Yeah, I like this. We're going to use it.
We were just any Arsenal DVD on eBay. They were buying it and then just watching it. That's just all they were doing.
Do you reckon they bought a certain book as well? Do you reckon they bought a certain book as well?
There's a couple of books you can get on Amazon or something, I'm sure, of Arsenal, but
I'm so glad Thomas Frank's gone, man. He was an absolute.
But when
He
you
was
think
protected.
how
guys,
when you
He
think
was
how many good
protected by the
coaching,
press, though, wasn't he? As well?
well, that's the thing.
He was being
invincible,
protected, Phil, yeah.
invincible to the press, and the coaches that he had, they were well respected in the game. So what the hell happened?
I feel like they've
Tudor's
been
come
showing
in
up though, because the fact is though that the way I look at it, the fact that Brentford are as good as they are right now just shows that I don't see what they must have been doing so well. Like all the Brentford fans were saying, Thomas Frank was amazing, and as soon as now they've got Keith Andrews in, who was a set piece coach beforehand,
Yeah.
Like
And got
doing
rejected
better.
the MK Dons job in the summer.
Exactly, they're doing better under him than they
They're
were
going to get
with
Europe.
Frank. So
They're
it's
gonna
like
get Europe.
it clearly wasn't just Thomas Frank why Brentford were good. So
It's the structure, it's the setup they have down there.
Exactly. So it's got nothing to do with the coaches.
The big thing for me is where he goes next. We all know how good a manager he is.
You could see him. He could have a similar story with Graham Potter, couldn't he? You could imagine that kind of story, or he could end up going to another Premier League club and kind of doing something.
I think he'll go abroad. To be honest, wouldn't surprise me if he goes into the Bundesliga. There'll be a lot of teams in the Bundesliga that would suit him quite well. In the Bundesliga, they love. There's always been loads of Danish, Scandinavian managers. It's just a thing here. Like somewhere like Mainz, some people might think that's maybe too small of a club, bearing in mind what he's done so far. But I could see him doing that. I'm not sure there's going to be that many Premier League teams who are going to be jumping at him pretty quick.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to have to go down a level, not as in to the Championship, but I mean in terms of the team
stature.
The stature for him to rebuild, because it is a catastrophic failure. I mean, he's essentially nearly took us down into the Championship. We're a founding father of the Premier League. The big thing we were talking about at the beginning was obviously it looked like originally it was a 5-4-1, but it could go into a 3-4-3 last time. In fact, it was a 4-4-2 into a 4-5-1. What I liked about Tudor is obviously he's adapted to what's available for him, and then he's made the formation as simple as he can feel. But the biggest element of that is the players are reacting to it. And almost the last two games, they've reacted to just the simplest change. Is it Phil, Igor Tudor, or is it the grave nature of the situation that the players have realised they're in and they've had to up themselves?
I think it's a mixture of everything, to be honest. The players, the pennies finally dropped clearly up to a certain extent, but I do think we have to give Tudor credit. He's been spending a lot of time. It probably took him. I know he lost his first. How many games was it? 4 or 5 games, but he's got no idea of the Premier League, really. He pretty much admitted he doesn't even watch the Premier League, day in, day out. He's got no idea of our squad. It will have taken him a couple of games just to kind of try and understand genuinely where the players are best set up, right? And where they want to play. And he hasn't been helped by all of these own goal, not own goals, but, just gifts that we've been giving the opposition constantly. If you look at it a bit retrospectively now, even Palace, it was terrible how we capitulated after Mickey got sent off, but we were leading before that. And we didn't look that bad. You know what I mean?
It was worse in the stadium.
We just went like that.
I don't know though, Phil. Personally, that first half an hour, I thought we were crap against Palace. I thought they dominated.
We weren't good, but they obviously had that disallowed goal, and then we scored, and then Mickey got sent off, and then it was 1-1, and then we fell apart. But with someone like Igor Tudor, who as Gal said, he doesn't speak great English, he doesn't know the league, he's got no sponsors or supporters at Tottenham, which is a positive, right? Because as we said, we know he's only there till the end of the season, so he can kind of be outspoken. He can say what he wants. He can piss the players off actually as well. But on the other hand, he doesn't have
as well. I know for a fact as well, there are some people in the club, I can't say who it is, obviously, but there is somebody that is associated with the club that absolutely detests him. But they can't come out and say anything. I know that for a fact. but
You
he's
know,
getting the results. And
when you
could
say
give a
part of the
shit.
club, do you mean like a person above him or someone
Yeah.
below him or like a manager?
Senior level.
Above.
Oh, senior level. Well, again, to be honest, I don't care. They're absolute mugs.
Yeah.
But you know, with Tudor as well, like he's fought through though, hasn't he? You know, a couple of games ago after Palace and after Fulham, you know, he could have almost thrown the towel in practically, or like in private, he could have been defeated. You know, turning up to training the next day. You know, how's he been with the players? He's fought through, and he's been rewarded now, and the players are kind of stepped up. But the fitness comes on top, doesn't it? The fitness is going to give us a boost now, because it almost looks like we're gaining energy and stamina again, right? And we're a bit more consistent even in the last couple of games. So it's all things to build on.
You look at the fitness and where some of the games, you look, we were dying out in games, weren't we? And now last night we were still going. We were going for that extra goal, for that another one. And those are the critical things we need in a relegation fight.
I tell you what was good though last night as well. I think he made his subs at the right time. I don't think we've covered it because we was obviously quite stagnant for a little bit, wasn't we? Around when they scored their second goal, the head did go down a little bit, but then we did keep pushing, and the energy that Udogie coming on, Bergvall coming on, Olosesi as well, it kind of spurred us on another level, and it kind of had that as well again against Liverpool. He is making subs at a better time as well.
Do you know what it is? That second goal, the way it happened, it took a lot. It was like a body blow, wasn't it? And it took a lot of wind out of the crowd as well. But you've probably hit it really well there. There's substitutes. We're also happy to see Bergvall and Udogie and having some players back. That if anything, that gave them an extra boost. And then the players reacted further, because I've been saying so much that any adversity that we have had this season, we've crumbled. We would have crumbled under Frank.
It probably took the pressure off of them a little bit as well, because you could see that because of how much we was going in that first 55, 60 minutes. I mean, it was shot after shot, go sort of thing. Tell 3 chances, Muani 3 chances, constantly going. And I mean, their keeper had a good game. To be fair, got to give credit to the Atletico
Pedro
keeper.
Porro's save.
Yeah, that was such a good move as well. Like Colin Muani, like leaving the ball, Xavi playing it through, Porro with that shot. It was that was the first time, like watching the football, I was actually impressed with how we're playing for the first time this season.
Scored. Oh, it's offside.
Fuck's sake.
Offside.
Is he going to VAR, or does VAR not exist in Michelin?
Yates has scored.
Exist,
it
does exist.
Hang on. I'm watching a replay now. I'll tell you if it's offside. I don't need fucking.
They're saying it's just offside.
It's offside. It's offside.
But I
mean,
but
you look at that. You look at that one, Joseph, but also the Tell one that he should have scored.
Oh, he had a couple.
Wonderful.
He had a couple.
Yeah.
There was a couple in the first half. Yeah, I mean, Tell was really bright, and I think it was Adrian who put the comment about how, you know, Tell deserves a bit of credit, and he does, because he was really bright in that first half, especially. Everything was coming through him. We always looked to get the ball to Tell and to have him make the move. And there was times where he lost the battle, but he kept on going. He always kept on going, and that's what you want to see. You want to see him like, sometimes the defender's going to win, doesn't stop you, and he puts in such a good cross. I mean, that cross for Colin Muani was perfect. It was completely perfect. And it's like, we needed this. We've needed this for so long. Again, what did Thomas Frank not see in him? Like, we've needed somebody who can whip the ball in like he can. And he did it so well. There's just, a couple of moments in the game that, again, the only thing to criticize him on, just a couple of moments where he just made the wrong decision. He shot twice at the near post when it was like, just cut it across and that could be an open goal. I remember at half time, Colin Muani was
selfish though. Selfish.
Yeah, but Colin Muani, I remember at the half time, I saw him. He was angry at Tell, basically saying, "You need to look up and make that pass across." So, again, hopefully he can just kind of think. But again, it's good to see a player with confidence, and he as well. Like you see him when he comes off, he's clapping all the fans. You know, he seems quite he seems quite involved in Tottenham, which is something I'm glad to see because I really like Matthias. I think he's got so much potential. The fans seem to really like him. There's no reason why he can't have a career here. He needs to be given more of an opportunity under these managers because it's been what 3 managers now who haven't really taken to him enough.
This is what I was going to bring up. Look, you've got to realise as well, for those that do give him pelters, that he is a young man. He's very, very young still. It's like 20. He's come to a new country. This is his second big move. Obviously, he went to Bayern Munich, didn't work out. But he's not played an awful amount of time. And as young footballers, you have to make mistakes to learn from them, as you do in life and anything. And he needs to make those mistakes to then listen to a Kolo Muani or whoever. And it's now seeing that his reaction to those. If he gets into that position again and squares it, he's learned from it. If he doesn't, then, you know, there's a question mark need to be had over him. But he's still very young and he's emerging and he hasn't had an awful lot of football consistently under his belt. I think we need to remember that as well because they came with a big price tag, but he's hardly been played. There's 3 managers he's played under.
You got to remember as well that there's a lot of Bayern fans that didn't want him sold. And there's a lot of Bayern fans that still follow him, like, you know, from Germany, but see how he's doing. Bayern, in an ideal world, wouldn't have sold him. It was purely because they got Kane in, they got Olise in.
Yeah.
They obviously had Musiala, but he was injured, right? He broke his leg, didn't he? But he's back now. But they were so strongly stacked in those, and Diaz now as well, obviously coming in. But they were so strongly stacked that they genuinely said, we can't offer you the pathway at the moment, right? Because you're like literally 3rd, 4th choice. But they didn't want to sell him. They didn't want to sell him because they always believed in his talent. And he's never had massive attitude issues or anything like that. You know, there's been 1 or 2 little things, but what isn't there going to be when you're that young and you're kind of moving across Europe?
Young.
You know?
He's young.
He's we were saying Archie's played like 100 games, right? And he's 20.
Yeah.
I haven't checked Tell, but he must be similar, right? Or if not,
I can check him quickly.
More.
I do want to say some good news that's come through to me, though, is that Nottingham Forest have gone to penalties.
Hey!
Which is great news. Right, let me just quickly check the career stats. He has played for Tottenham 50 games. That was his 50th game yesterday for Tottenham.
Wow. How many?
Which is quite a lot, to be fair. And he played...
See how many for Bayern?
He's already played 50 games.
Apparently.
But he's played 30 times.
With subs,
They're just that it's obviously subs as well. That isn't like starts or anything. So that includes everything. So that's 50 appearances.
That still seems crazy, doesn't it?
Bayern Munich. Yeah, he played 20 games last season and he's played 30 this season, which I'm quite surprised by that, actually.
Played
83 times for Bayern Munich.
What we can't forget either is that he is a French under-21
games, 83 times for Bayern.
Isn't he captain, Carl? I think he's French under-21 captain.
I think he has been captain a few times, and he's obviously best mates with Odebear. So that's why I think there's such a good partnership, and it's why at the start of the season I was so excited to see them two and even Muani together. It's just that, and just going back to your comment, Gal, that you made about Muani having a go at Tell at half time and all that, I thought it's a bit popcorn in the kettle black, mate. Come on, we've wanted to have a go at you all season.
That's him being a senior player, isn't it? That's him saying to him that you've done wrong here. You think, right? Yeah, last season, Tell played 13 times in the Premier League, once in the FA Cup, once in the EFL, 5 times in Europa League. This season, 1 Super Cup, 3 Champions Leagues appearances, 2 in the EFL Cup, 1 in the FA Cup, and 23 times in the Premier League. So, I mean, he's played 50 games for us. Or 50 appearances.
There's a player there. Whether he's going to be top draw, we don't know. It's too early, but there is definitely a player there. And I think it's just a lack of end product and composure that will probably define him between a striker and a winger.
It's coaching. It's giving him time.
And he needs to work out his true position and not become a utility player. He needs focus in one position.
I think I'll tell you what, I think he'd really work well in this two-striker formation, like playing off of another striker.
I mean, he
because
did last night.
Cannot,
He started last
he,
night.
he can't play up front on his own. He's not big enough. He can't hold up the ball well enough. But playing
And
off
that's
of
what
another
Andrew's
striker,
doing.
I think he'd do really well with it.
He wants to be a striker as well, right? He's always
Yeah.
wanted to be a striker.
Yeah.
And he was kind of pushed.
Well, he played there last night. He
at
started
time
there
anyway.
last night, and obviously when he came to Tottenham, he came as a striker. But Ange kept playing him on his own, and it's not big enough. But I'm conscious of time. We've been going for nearly 90 minutes. Just ahead of Sunday, just quick score predictions from everybody, and to the 400 of you watching. Obviously, do appreciate everybody's time tonight. Just please give the lads a follow on social media, and obviously the show as well. Be fantastic of you. Cavs, coming to you. Score predictions.
I'm going to go 3-1. I still think we'll concede, but I'm going for some cheeky goals from us.
3-1 for Phil.
I'm gonna follow Cal with his optimism. I predicted 3-1 for the last game. I'm gonna go with a 4-1. I think we're gonna play really well on Sunday, and I think we're gonna score. I think we're gonna be quite clinical. I think I've got a good feeling.
Joseph, for you?
4-1.
I'm gonna go 2-1. I think it'll be a lot more cagey than these other games have been. I don't think Forest will allow us to play as easily as maybe Liverpool and Atletico Madrid allowed us to. So I don't think it will be as easy, but I'm really just, this is out of hope more than anything. Obviously, again, I do feel somewhat confident going into the game, but you know, it's still a tough game. Forest have been doing well. They're not a terrible team, and it's not going to be easy. But I'm just hoping we go over the line. All of them, I don't even care how we win it. Just 3 points. Don't care.
Yeah, I agree. I'm torn between 2 or 3. I think it'd be a 2-1. I don't think it's going to be really close. I think it'd be really close for the first half hour. And hopefully we get a goal early if we can as well. I genuinely feel the 12th man is going to be very important on Sunday. Just to give everyone, because obviously I kind of mumbled then because I was watching Morgan Gibbs-White take a penalty, who did score. So it's 1-0 at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1, tight game, but I think we'll have enough win there, and then we definitely need to beat Leeds and Wolves around us as well. But we shall be back on Monday because me and Cal are going to the game on Sunday, so we won't be streaming after the game. I know diehards are streaming later on. I think it's 8 o'clock. I was asked earlier, so they'll be on at 8 o'clock. So do give them a watch if you can, and hopefully loads of people, all the over 400 of you, are all going to be down there on Sunday. Part of the, I guess it's parade, or I guess it's a parade. I don't know if you would call it a parade.
It's a bus show up, isn't it, or something like that?
A bus sing up, show up, stay up. Midtjylland have missed their first penalty, and the big sort of welcoming the lads to the ground. I know there is some more stuff coming out, so do keep your eyes on social media. Very doubt it'll come from mine, but there is some more things coming out ahead of Sunday. One particular video I believe is going to be pretty good from what I've been told, so keep an eye on that, and obviously hopefully we get a good result on Sunday. But from the 4 of us and our Brummy friend that is at work, we shall see you back on Monday.